Everybody, my name is Maximiliano Gonzalez Hernandez, and today I'll be talking about 10 cent beer nights. But first, let's start off with a quote by W.C. Fields, a famous American actor and comedian in the 30s. He once said, "Everybody's got to believe in something. I believe I'll have another beer." Though the people in Cleveland, Ohio, probably did not know who this man was, they sure lived by his quotes spiritually. On June 4th, 1974, the day everything went wrong. On June 4th, 1974, Tennessee Beer Night happened, where beer was very cheap at a baseball game between the Cleveland Indians versus Texas Rangers. Things got out of hand and turned very violent. It was a no man's land in the field by the end of the night. It's also important to know that even when ideas sound very great, flawless, it might not always be the case. Maybe you should ask for a second opinion to get a different perspective. Perhaps not a friend either, perhaps a stranger. I've studied the events of Tennessee Beer Night, learning how, from the start, they wanted to increase ticket sales in the baseball game, till the end, after everyone was fighting each other in the field. Today, I will be covering about one of the most infamous events in Cleveland, Ohio, Tennessee Beer Night. First, let's start on how Tennessee Beer Night came to life in the first place, why it was created, and who had this brilliant idea. What? Well, let us get it started. The creator of Tennessee Beer Nights was Stanley Pavlov, a market executive. He is the one behind the brilliant idea of 10 cent beer nights. Pavlov noticed that the sales of tickets in the municipal stadium were becoming very low, which means not a lot of people were coming to the games, which means not a lot of people were spending money, which in other words means he wasn't getting any money. He wanted to think of ways to increase the ticket sales by having people come over and enjoy the games. He eventually was struck with an idea and thought to himself, what if they sold beers for 10 cents each? In the article Tennessee Beer Night by Mark Bona on June 1st, 2024, he stated that the beers were Strolls, normally 65 cents each at a ballpark, and it was 3.2% alcohol, which equated to 85% off on all beers. He went to the higher ups and convinced them that this would be a great idea, even though they thought the opposite. In the article Who Came Up with 10 Cent Beer Nights by David in 2025, he said, however, Pavlov's enthusiasm and unwavering belief in the success of 10 Cent Beer Nights eventually won them over. To also help decrease unforeseen events, they would limit the people to buy 6 beers per purchase. Now that we learned how it started, now let's talk about the night it happened. On June 4th, 1974, was the night everything happened. It was a baseball game between the Cleveland Indians and Texas Rangers. Beers were being sold at a high amount that it was hard to keep up with the people. It was such a huge success, as many showed up to the stadium to watch the game and drink lots of beer. Steel folding chair. Eventually, it turned to went to the center of the field and attacked each other. Even if players started fighting back with the fans, even if it meant it was their own fans. It was a no man's land. Now that we know what happened during Intensive Beer Night, let's talk about the aftermath. The aftermath, of course, was not great, as many things went wrong in Intensive Beer Night. Many people were injured after they all started fighting each other in the field, and they were also using weapons as well, such as bats, chains, and whatever weapons they had during the game, such as brass knuckles. There was also thousands of dollars in damages, as people were destroying the stadium as well when they were rioting. According to the video, when a baseball match becomes a battle royale by Big Boss on February 27th, 2023, he states that there were 60,000 beers consumed, 19 streakers, and by the end of it, every single base was stolen and never to be seen again. Even worse, both teams were tied on points, which means the Cleveland Indians could have won the game. The points were 5-5. But then the Cleveland Indians had to forfeit the game due to the riots being caused. According to Bono in the article 10 Cent Beer Night, said just more than $1 billion were minted in 1974. Safe to say, a lot of them were flung at the concession stands. This eventually led to the second 10 Cent Beer Night on July 18th, 1974, which was successful and no issues, surprisingly. It actually brought a lot of people together as well. There was actually no violence, there was no streakers, and in fact, there was no riders as well. Everything went perfectly well, as it should have on the first night. Now that you know about 10 Cent Beer Night, let's conclude what we talked about today. Now everyone knows what went down on 10 Cent Beer Night, from the creation of it to the night of it. Now you know how the chaos helped them make the second 10 Cent Beer Night successful. After listening to my speech, I hope you have all learned about the infamous 10 Cent Beer Night in Cleveland, Ohio. And remember, Steven Spielberg once said, all good ideas start out as bad ideas. That's why it takes so long. Thank you, and have a good day.